Hi! Today on Miscrits, I'll be reviewing some of the printable gaming effects from Deadly Print Studios. So a while back I was watching these battle reports on YouTube and saw the coolest effects. From shields to muzzle flares, I knew I needed to get them. After some research, I found out that they were from a company called Deadly Print Studios. Deadly Print Studios creates 3D printable files of energy weapons, grenade launchers, explosions, all sorts of battle effects that you might want to just enhance the experience on your gaming table. The files are printable on either a resin printer or on a more traditional filament printer. I'll be showing you how I print and paint these up for my armies.
The first thing you want to do with any 3D file is import it into your slicing software. In my case, I imported these pulse effects into Chitubox. This is where you can modify the size, select how many of the file you want to print, and the most important part, add supports. Once you're happy with the file, you can slice it, which essentially writes it into a format that your printer understands. We can then save the file to a USB stick and bring it to the printer. I prefer printing these effects in a clear resin. I use Polyjuice Clear. I really like that it's got zero smell and that it's water rinsable. This means I don't have to use harsh chemicals like isopropyl alcohol to rinse the extra uncured resin. Now, just because it's water rinsable doesn't mean that it's safe. You still don't want to touch this stuff without gloves, and definitely don't want to dump the water you rinsed it in down the sink. Once the pieces are fully rinsed, I cure them in a nail ultraviolet hood. I got this one off of Amazon for pretty cheap. Letting them cure in the sunlight is fine. It just takes a lot longer, and on some of the bigger, thicker pieces, you might not get a full cure. So for painting this one, I'm using an airbrush, but you can go ahead and paint these with a brush if you prefer. Since this one is for a pulse, I started off with a French blue from Vallejo. I then added some light sea blue, just to make a better gradient in the paint job. Finally, I'm adding a little bit of matte white from Army Painter War Paints. You can definitely use any white that you want. This is just the first one I had on hand. Now with the airbrushing complete, I decided I wanted a little bit of an extra pop on this piece. So I'm taking a little bit more of the white and an actual brush, and I'm just doing some edge highlighting around where the flash comes to an end. Once everything's dry, I just grab a little bit of super glue and affix the piece directly to the model. Since the pieces are very small and can be fragile, if you don't want to glue them on there, you could drill in a small hole and add a magnet. That way you could remove it when you're transporting your troops. For the muzzle flashes, I'm using the exact same technique, except I'm using a Scrofulous Brown from Vallejo Game Color. This will give it more that fiery yellow flash that you'd get with your typical type of bolter or auto gun. Once the paint is dry, I then use some hot orange from Vallejo Game Color. I just grab my brush and gently touch all the raised areas near the back of the flash. For the flyer's damage marker, I started with some Vallejo Scrofulous Brown. Then built that up with some hot orange, followed by Ferrari Red. Finally, I added some black for the smoke. The battle markers come with a hole pre-built so that you can actually stick a magnet, as I was discussing earlier about the muzzle flares.
Well, that's it for today. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't already, please like this video and subscribe. If you really like the content that we're providing and want to help out, please visit our Patreon page. Cheers.